So take a look at this. This is Spotify. And this is also Spotify. Now, if you want to add a song to your queue, on desktop you have to go to the three dots, find it in this list of stuff, and finally click the Add to Queue button. But on your phone, you can just... feels much better. See, there's a reason why you spend hours mindlessly scrolling on this thing, and it is not that social media is addicting. Try to scroll reels on your computer. The content is the same, but it just doesn't feel as good. Because there's a tiny, seemingly inconsequential decision that's behind both of these. A difference of 100 milliseconds decided a long time ago that ended up becoming one of the most important decisions in tech history. And no one ever talks about it. Even if you never noticed, every device you've ever used is defined by one core interaction, one decision, and everything else builds on top of that. It's what made smartphones the most successful tech device in history. It's the reason why you, me, and everyone, I guess, hates using smart TVs. And once you understand it, you can even predict which future products will succeed and which will fail miserably before they even launch. I build tech for a living, and I break down how tech works on this channel, and I can't believe I didn't notice this before. But to understand what this one tiny decision even is, you have to see how it's not just Spotify or scrolling on social media, it's, well, everything. This is Google Photos on your phone, and this is Google Photos on your computer. On the surface, they look similar, but they're not. Here, there's an arrow to move forward and back in the photos. I cannot even drag my mouse around to go back and forth. Here, I can just swipe through. If I want to see the details of this image on desktop, I have all these buttons. Then I click the three dots, then details. Here, I can just swipe up, and here's my details. If I want to go back, here, I need to click the arrow, but here, I can just swipe down. Now, yes, on mobile, you also have buttons here, but the interaction is fundamentally different. On Spotify here, I have my player. I can just swipe through to change songs. Feels way better than clicking these next and previous buttons. If I want lyrics, I just scroll down, and here they are, along with the rest of the info about the song and the artist and events. And this is true for any interface, any product you're using every day. The desktop version always has more stuff, more buttons, more drop-downs, more scroll bars, more symbols, and it's not just how things look. Think about it. When was the last time you actually created something on your phone? Not a text message, but something real, like a document, a presentation, even a proper, well-formatted email. It's almost as if this is for consumption and this is for creation. No one has decided that, but it feels like it. And it's not by chance, because all of this has one specific cause. But come on. Of course, they're different. Your computer has a large screen, so there's more stuff to create, and your phone doesn't. That's it. Well, no. This is the Teenage Engineering OP1. It's a synthesizer used for music production, and it's incredibly tiny, but it's used by some of the most recognizable names in music to produce the biggest hits in the world. Does this sound familiar? There's this amazing channel called Red Means Recording on YouTube that creates full track with this thing. And despite the incredibly small screen, the interface is genius. It uses these color knobs to manipulate sound and go back and forth. So, no, that's not it. Okay, then it must be because of these. Compared to a small phone screen, my fingers are huge, fat, and imprecise. That's why you need more space for each icon with bigger targets and simpler interfaces. It would be the same as having a gigantic mouse cursor on desktop. Well, before the first iPhone and smartphones as we know them today, there was this. Phones with styluses. Nokia even shipped a phone with a guitar pick in the box. The input was precise, yes, and the interfaces actually look like tiny desktop ones. Look at this old Windows phone. But they sucked. So, no. It's not that phone screens are smaller. It's not the fact that you interact with them with your fingers. There is something deeper. One single decision that made smartphones the most successful devices in tech history, and then influenced everything else. Why Spotify or Google Photos look like this, why it's so hard to create on your phone, but so easy to get lost in the scrolling and consuming, it all comes down to this. And some of you might already have figured it out. So try to tap something on your phone. What does it do? Well, of course, it taps, it opens the thing. But now do the same, but move your finger a bit. Of course, it scrolls. So it means that your phone is not registering a tap when you put your finger down on the screen. It's waiting to detect if this is a tap interaction or a scroll interaction. It waits to give you the time to potentially move your finger and see if that's a scroll. Or if a scroll doesn't start and your finger stays there, then it's actually registered as a tap. And this is the key. Check it out. Android is open source. You can actually see this. If you go to android.googlesource.com/platform/framework/base/rev/head/main/core/java/view then you can see it. Type timeout is set to 100 milliseconds, and touch slop is 8 dp. It's how far your finger travels before it's considered a scroll. Copyright 2006, the Android open source project. Apple and the iPhone are exactly the same, only they're not open source so we cannot see the actual code, but it's generally agreed to be 150 milliseconds. And this is the key. Scrolling comes first, and tapping comes second. Now, this seems like a stupid detail, a minuscule difference that no one cares about. But this is way more important than you think. This is the main reason why smartphones as we know them today won, and everything else failed. It's the reason why the apps you use every day on your phone look the way they do. It's the reason why your phone is addicting to use and you spend hours on Instagram and TikTok, but you don't feel the same on your computer. And why this ended up being a device mostly to create and this a device mostly to consume. But it's also probably the best example of how the core input of something also allows you to predict which tasks succeed and which doesn't. But let me show you this. Google Photos from the beginning. Here on desktop I have arrows that go forward and back, buttons to click. Here on my phone I just swipe. The arrows are gone, the buttons are gone. Because when scrolling is the main interaction, you don't need buttons to navigate. The screen itself becomes the control. You want to see how it feels different on desktop? Have you ever found one of these carousels online where you drag to move them? Well, technically you can do it with your mouse, but it feels clunky. And why? Well, because on computers, the click comes first and scrolling comes second. Now, sure, there are trackpads now which kind of make things a bit different, but the interfaces are still built for this. I mean, you can just look at a mouse. Which one is the primary action and which one is the secondary action? If you have to move around a YouTube video on mobile, your instinct is to just take the red dot and drag it to move it around. On desktop, you don't do that. You click the part that you want. Gmail, Amazon, Google Maps, this is everywhere and most people never notice. And this is not just a feature of smartphones. And so how do they figure it out? Well, in the early 2000s, Steve Jobs was walking through Apple's lobby, and a guy who just bombed his interviews stops by and shows him something on his laptop. Dock icons that magnify when you hover over them. Jobs looks at him and just hires him on the spot. This guy is called Bas Ording, and by the way, that small demo is still what you have on your Mac today. Now, a few years later, Apple is secretly trying to build a phone, but they're stuck. Remember, they're coming from this, and their best idea looks like this. You scroll the click wheel to move through your contacts. Mind you, it's better than doing that on old phones, but still not enough. So Jobs gives Baz a challenge. Just build me a demo with a screen, but no buttons, just a list of names, and you need to find a way to move through it and find someone to call. And what he builds is this.
Nice scroll.
They immediately realized how powerful this is and patented it. Here it is. And when Samsung copied it, Apple sued them for $1 billion. Steve Jobs personally told Samsung, here's something we invented, don't copy it, don't steal it. All of this for what seems like a stupid scroll interaction. But he understood that it was much more. It's the foundation of the entire device. And once you see it that way, everything clicks or scrolls. Yeah, I should stop with the jokes. Now think about what happens when you open Instagram on your phone. You scroll, a photo appears, you keep going, a reel starts playing, you keep going, another one. You don't tap anything, you don't choose anything, content just appears and you glide through it. At some point you look up and 40 minutes went by. Now try to open Instagram on your browser. Yeah, you can scroll with your trackpad or mouse, but it's not the same. If you try with YouTube Shorts, they even have 2 buttons to click through to move up and down. The app is the same. The content is the same, but on one device you lose 40 minutes without noticing, and on the other you close it after 5. That's the difference that the core input makes. Scrolling is way more natural as a gesture than clicking, but while you can have 30 things and 30 buttons visible at the same time on desktop, on mobile you just can't. There are only so many ways you can scroll on mobile. Up, down, maybe you drag down an object, and don't get me wrong, you can build cool interactions with this. Like for example in Gmail, you can swipe through your profile pictures to go through your different email accounts. But probably most of you didn't even know about this. See, scrolling as a core input allows for a few actions, 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, but that feel incredibly natural. Think moving through your photos, scrolling a list, or going through the next reel. Why do you think Apple got rid of the home button and replaced it with a scroll? Whereas clicking as the main input lets you do way more things, but in a less natural way. And over time, we found ways to take things that were once done by tapping and clicking and replacing them with scrolls that made them even more addictive. Why press a refresh button when you can just pull down to refresh? Much more natural. Why go to page 1 or page 2 or page 3? When you reach the end, just scroll down a bit more and we'll load infinitely the rest of the content. And on the surface, these small changes seem innocent, but you kind of know they've had huge consequences in the way you spend your time today. As Raskin, the inventor of the infinite scroll, said that the thing he regrets most is not packaging the inventions with this philosophy in which they're supposed to be used. Or Lauren Brichter, the guy who invented pull to refresh, said that smartphones are addictive. Pull to refresh is addictive. I have 2 kids now and I regret every minute that I'm not paying attention to them because my smartphone has me sucked in. This is also why your phone ended up being a consumption device and your laptop a creation and work device. It's also why little kids get the hang of using a phone so easily. There's a few key actions, they're all performed with a natural scroll, and it doesn't require much precision. So it's not the screen size, it's not your fat finger, it's that every single interaction on mobile is designed around scroll being more important than tapping. But there's something more here, because we just saw how the core input of your device completely changes how you use it. And while we just look at smartphones, this is not just a smartphone thing. Every device is its core input, and you can actually use this to predict if something is going to be a success or a complete failure. But before we get to that, let me show you another example of core input that I've never seen before. Here I just upload an image like this, and the friends of the channel at OpenArt World turn it into this. And I don't know how to describe it other than a fully navigable and interactive 3D world. And with this, you can literally walk or fly around and generate high-quality images of exactly what you're seeing. In Hollywood, there's this thing called the volume, which was used in Star Wars The Mandalorian, and it's a massive studio with real-time projections where the camera moves and the background moves accordingly. Super cool. Avatar pioneered a similar approach with their virtual sets. However, these cost millions of dollars. But now you can just throw in an image and any creative anywhere in the world has something just as powerful at their disposal. Look at this. I'm dropping here a photo I took in one of my favorite skiing places of Livigno, and boom, here's a fully navigable environment that I can literally walk into with my keyboard like a video game. It also keeps the light, the scene, and the style consistent. You can try OpenArt Worlds for free at openart.ai/worlds, or just follow the link in the description. But now back to the video, because I think we can all agree that these suck. Everyone hates smart TVs, but why? It's not just the fact that they're slow, it's something else. Well, look at it. Rows of thumbnails, horizontal list, categories. It looks like it was designed for scrolling, because it was, but you're controlling it with this. 4 arrows and a button. You want to get to that movie? You go down, down, right, select, okay. And the keyboard is even more annoying. Smart TV remotes come straight from regular TV remotes, and they didn't change them. They just built an interface for a core input that's fundamentally broken. It will be the same as stretching a mobile app on a computer, and that's it. Apple even tried to fix this. They shipped a remote with a touch surface in 2015, and everyone hated it. They redesigned it back to buttons. So you cannot transplant the core input of one device into another. When the Humane AI pin came out with this projector and these weird clunky gestures that look clunky even in the demo, you can already see that the core input is fundamentally broken. So there's only one way this can end. And of course, on the other hand, Meta released their neural band for the Meta Glasses display, and everyone that tried it, myself included, saw how natural the input method is. Now, it's a first-generation product, it's very niche, but with a strong core input, you can actually see it being a success. But we don't even need to go into the realm of devices. User interfaces have been the main way we interact with technology for the past 30 years. But now we all spend an awful lot of time typing, prompting some chatbot or some AI to do things for us. And this is the exact same thing. If you open Claude or ChatGPT, what do you see? Just a text box, a blank space where you can type whatever you want, however you want it. In the past, text boxes were very unforgiving. You have to type everything perfectly, but here you can type something with errors or malformed, or you can press the mic icon and just ramble for minutes, and it just works. It immediately clicked with everyone because the core input works. The fact that you can just ask things normally, make mistakes, and still have it understand you is better than clicking 40 submenus in a user interface. You don't need a settings menu if you can say, make this shorter. You don't need search filters if you just describe what you're looking for. But there's something else that's going on in the tech we use every day. Have you ever wondered why we have super smart AI chats that start to replace entire jobs? We are spending billions on useless products that no one will use, but still, we are not fixing basic things like AirDrop, printers, things that are horrible to work with today. It's almost as if our tech is running at two different speeds. And this is not by chance. It's because of one of the weirdest laws that decides how your tech actually gets built. And you can learn all about it in this video right here. I'm Enrico, and I'll see you in the next one.